right, we back, bitches, and today we got array. Maybe you should have commas in here. A Codewars exercise done in Python, or it'll be done in Python. Gotta clear the old throat there, yeah. You're gonna be given an initial two-value array, which is really a two-value list. You're going to be given a two-value list. You're going to use this to calculate a score. If both values in the list are numbers, the score is going to be the sum of the two. If only one is a number, the score is that number. If neither is a number, return void. This is kind of like Simon Says, sort of. But you're going to get a list that is a pair of things, like x, y. You're going to get a pair. And if both of them are numbers, the score is going to be the sum. If only one's a number, the score is that number. If neither is a number, return void. So you can really see with this one, you're going to do conditionals. You know, you got your ifs, if. So these are all conditional pathways. Going down a little bit further, once you have your score, you must return an array of arrays, really a list of lists. Once you have your score, you're going to return a list of lists. Each sublist will be the same as x, and the number of sublists should be equal to the score. So the score you found in the first conditional set is going to be the number of subarrays that you create, and the subarrays will be equal to the initial pair. So let's say my initial score was 3. I'm going to create 3 subarrays of x, y. So the score determines the number of subarrays that you create with this one. Yeah, it's kind of a category of exercises that I would call a Simon Says, where there's really little practical about this. It's just do what it says and follow the directions, which is an important skill in programming. You're going to be given tasks that you don't really get the practicality of, and you just got to do them. And also a little bit of, well, it's always beneficial when you put keyboard to screen, as they say, or as I say. Here's an example. If your initial array list, your initial list is A3, you're going to return a two-dimensional list with 3 instances of it, because your score here is 3, and this corresponds to the situation of if only one is a number, score that number, or the score is that number, and only one of these is a number, and that's 3, so the score is 3. So that gets you 3 sub lists. If they were both numbers, then it would be the sum of the two. And to recap the rules, if neither is a number, going to return void from the function, like this says. And here we go. Let's dive in. As they say in a lot of programming tutorials, let's dive in. I'm wondering if I should go ahead and put let's drop this in there so you guys can kind of see how things are so you can see the rules as I code. I think it'll be beneficial to remember. Do you remember? A little Michael Jackson 90s action. Oh, that's not looking good. Yeah. So you can see the rules as I code, so I'm just not like coding in the dark, sorta, or like what the hell is this guy doing? So ARR is going to be a list. Really, it's going to be a pair in a list, a pair of things. And initially, I'm just going to do the conditionals. The first conditional I'm going to do is the kind of the no-go conditional, the one that says if neither is a number, return void, because you're going to leave early if that's the case. You're not going to process further. So, and in this exercise, when they say number, they really mean integer. So you don't need to check for floats, just integer. So I'll do it like this. I'll use isInstance. For each of the elements here. And what I'm doing is returning the string of void. Yeah. So isInstance returns true or false if argument 0 is an instance of argument 1, it returns true or false, or it returns true in that case. So I'm checking for it not being an instance. So if really this if statement says if neither of these is an integer, then we're going to return void. Very simple. I am going to, now that I've got this out of the way, I need to determine the score of the list because I know that there will be a score. I've eliminated the possibility of there being no score because I've eliminated the possibility of having two non-integers. So I will have a score. So I'm going to use a variable to record the score. Do you know what the score is? And there's a little placeholder. And then I'm going to do conditionals to correspond to the rest of the conditions here. So I'll do if one of these, or really if index 0 is an integer and index 1, is an integer. Really, if they are both integers, then I'm going to say that my score is equal to the sum. Actually, I can do this. This is pretty simple. Yeah, use the sum function. That's easier. So if they are both integers, then I'm just going to get the sum of the list. And if, a lot of typing here, folks. Bear with me. Guess I could just copy and paste my solution, but I feel like this is more interactive, seeing the things kind of come up from scratch, sort of. Let me know what you think. Of course, nobody really comments on these videos, so do what you do. And I see that I'm so used to typing I that, you know, I type it in brackets. When I see brackets, I put an I in there just it's like muscle memory. Yeah. All right. For this next LF condition, it's if if index 0 is an integer and index 1 is, wait a minute, what am I doing? Oh yeah. If index 0 is an integer and index 1 is not an integer, then the score is going to be index 0. I'm losing myself here with this very simple logic. Okay. And then I'm going to do kind of the opposite, so, well, not the opposite, but the other side of the coin, where if blah, if index 0 is not an integer and index 1 is, then the score is going to be index 1. Yeah. So let's see what's going on here. If the first one's an integer and the second one is not, then the score is the first. If the first one is not an integer and the second one is, then the score is the second one. And I'm sure this can be simplified, but it's sometimes I do drawn out code so that you guys can see, really understand the logic. Because some of you lower level individuals, in terms of, it's not really a put down, it's more like, if you don't have that much experience and that much exposure, this code is easier to understand than, I could condense it and make it uber, but I'm trying to draw people in here a little bit, have you guys understand it rather than show how amazing I am at code. I can do that on my own time, right? This is my own time. I'm doing YouTube videos for myself. Anyway, rambling is over. I've got the score now. Now I know the score. And from here, I just need to create a two-dimensional list that corresponds to the value in the score. Like if the score is 3, I need to create 3 sub-lists inside of a list. Yeah, you get that? My talking is off this morning. This is the first speaking this morning, so I tend to be a little rusty. I'm going to use list comprehension for this because this is a tailor-made list comprehension scenario. Because I'm just going to be duplicating my original array. I'm going to be duplicating my initial list a certain number of times. That is simply it, folks. Where with this list comprehension, I'm going to loop an amount of times equal to the score, and for each of those times, I'm going to insert a copy of the initial array into a copy of the original list. I keep correcting myself. A copy of the original list into my list, thus creating a list of lists with each sublist equal to the value, or actually the number of sublists equal to the value of score. I think I said it right that time. Okay. And that's it. Let us run it. Now you can't see any of the code as the type is so large. But, okay. My exactness is off, so it is exclamation point. Yeah. Alrighty, folks. There's your solution to array in Codewars in Python. Yeah. So you're good, I'm good, and really that's it for me. So with that, y'all, I am good and I am out. See ya.